to the live launch. So, one of the cool things that we are doing this week is launching our accelerator program. And this is the same exact program that we've been working with one on one clients over the last 2, 3 years and helping them achieve some really awesome results. For you guys that may have not seen us before, we are Niche and Control. We help marketing agency owners really effectively scale their business from an inside out perspective. A lot of other agency programs out there are really focused around getting more clients, and that's pretty much all they focus on. More focused on like vision and strategy and business strategy to make sure that actually the clients that you're acquiring are actually first off paying you a lot of money based around your competence and the things that you can kind of be more certain and confident in. And so we actually have this program. We've been doing it for a long time, and we generate some really awesome results. So what I'm going to do during this live launch, you can go to nicheandcontrol.com/accelerator and see everything that I'm going to be talking about today. But ultimately, we've taken all of our case studies, things like Mike, who started his agency really wanting to be closer to his kids and have time for his kids. That's actually how he got out of corporate America. And when he went into his agency, it kind of took over his life. It was really leading towards 10-hour days, 12-hour days, 14-hour days. And ultimately, the vision that he had when he started the agency of having the agency be able to grow without his direct involvement was not his reality at the time where we first started working together. And what we ended up doing was helping him through things like time management, which is if you look at if you keep on going down, you'll see the different modules and how we walked him through it. But the time management was one of the big ones for Mike, where we figured out different ways like of carving out 8 to 10 hours per week for him to work on the business, which actually made it to where it wasn't additional 8 to 10 hours. It was carved out time. So there was a lot of things that he was doing in his business that actually did not get results. So in a very, very short period of time, he went from 5,000 per month to over 20,000 per month in his agency, hiring his first employee in the 4th month. And really quadrupling his business while working less hours. So Mike was one of our case studies for the accelerator program. And you'll see pretty much who it's for is really based around if you're an agency owner, you've already had 5 paying clients, you already are through that proof of concept stage, then ultimately what you're needing is leverage. You need to leverage the best parts of you as a business owner, your competence, your organization for ultimate growth and expansion. And that's basically what Leverage for Growth does, is it's very systematic in a way of making it to where what vision you had when you first started the agency is what you go back to and you align towards that vision. Or if you have a bigger vision for the future of your agency, we basically set up the systems to really support you in achieving what you want. And everybody's a little bit different. Like Susan, when we first started working together, she actually gave me 6 months to turn around her agency or she was going to shut it down. And she couldn't figure out how to scale. She was listening to the Two Bobs podcast and all the other, agency gurus out there telling her how to, scale a creative agency, and she just couldn't figure it out. And so she gave me 6 months, and luckily we were able to turn it around for her. And in an 18-month period of time, she was able to go from almost giving up to doubling her business, growing a scalable team, having a really scalable offer, making it to where her clients really thanked her for the things that she was doing, and it was repeatable. And we cut down the amount of time that it takes to create a creative process, and then actually increase the quality of the work. And from doing that, she became more attractive to a PR agency and got acquired within 18 months of working together. And she even says, and I'll quote her, "I'd offer you this challenge. Can you open up your mind enough to allow Jesse to show you what the future can be like for your company, where your day is not owned by your business after 5 o'clock, where you can find this joy and take the challenges and run with it, where you have to be the right person to work with Jesse, but you have to be willing to be scared to see a future that you maybe could not have ever even imagined." And I love that quote because Susan did not plan on selling her agency. That wasn't kind of her end goal, where some people, they're more focused around building the systems to scale. Susan was really focused around making it to where she was able to see her business from a new light, and we were able to do that with her company, which is really, really cool. And if you guys that may not know who, my name is Jesse. I have owned 4 businesses over the last 14 or so years. The first 3 businesses ultimately were all based around my skills. So the things that I did, if I didn't get the work done, then nothing got done in the business. And I couldn't really figure out a way of making it to where I could effectively delegate work to others, having them do it at a level of quality that I would expect it out of myself. And so I kind of went on a journey after my first 3 businesses. They became more successful in the public eye, but inside I was dying because I could not figure out a way of making it to where the business, was not based around my time or my hours or anything like that. And so I went into corporate America. With a $4 billion global corporation, and implemented business systems to really make it to where people could do the work, and effective delegation would happen, but it wouldn't necessarily be based around a single person. And that's when I realized that these business systems was what was missing in my first 3 businesses. So I actually started Niche and Control really based around the idea that as an entrepreneur, you have a vision, you have a goal, you're trying to achieve something, that actually that idea turned into a business. And sometime between the start of the business and kind of maybe where you are right now, it got complicated. Something got in the way, and the clarity of the vision that you had when you first started your business kind of gets unclear or foggy. And this is natural in the process of kind of reclaiming that vision. And it usually happens between 6 figures and 7 figures, where ultimately you have to go through an internal journey, changing who you are and how you show up as a leader for your company in order for you to, effectively grow the business beyond you. So that's what leverage for growth is. It's a combination between not only a proven process that I've used time and time again, as you'll see from the client's testimonials, but it's also a combination of everything that I wish I would have known when I first started my businesses, to make it to where I didn't create a monster. If you look at nichecontrol.com, our homepage, you'll hear more about the monster and the story, and kind of what led me towards working with one of my first clients, which was actually Warren. Now, Warren, when he didn't really have a problem getting clients, he had a problem with getting everything out of his head and into processes and systems in order for him to effectively delegate. And in the way beginning, when I was first started working with him, he was at $15,000 a month, him and his business partner, and then he had only 1 employee at the time. And he couldn't really figure out a way of making it to where someone could take over accounts, could really support him in being able to take on more clients. And so what we did was built systems around both operational systems and also training systems, because an account manager in a lot of ad agencies might take 6 to 9 months in order for them to become independent, which ultimately became one of the biggest bottlenecks in Warren's company. And so what we ended up doing was building all these different types of systems in order for him to shorten that period of time for someone to be a new hire to independence. And we got it down to less than 3 months, which is pretty amazing, especially since they do a lot of analytics and ads and stuff like that. And so in that period of time, we were able to grow his business over 400% in the first 6 months. And he actually went from 15,000 per month to over 100,000 per month in 9 months. And it became monthly recurring after 9 months. And what he says is that working with Jesse allowed me to make it through a challenging but rewarding first months, including repackaging our services, firing that new employee, hiring 4 others, losing a key contractor, putting together a formal training program, and then growing the business by 400%. I highly recommend working with him. And I continue to work with Warren and his business partner, Charles, as we continue to grow their business. But this is ultimately what happens when you build a lot of systems, is they just become more predictable. And it's not necessarily more systems means that you're able to scale. You have to keep them simple. And that's ultimately what we do with the Leverage for Growth Accelerator program. You'll see that we do like an inside out perspective of your business. So we're really focused around unlocking your limitless mind, and really understanding that in order for you to achieve anything in your vision, whether that's a 7-figure agency, getting it to build it to scale, and maybe even selling it, having time for your kids, any of that kind of stuff, you have to believe that you can actually do it. And we have different ways of being able to do that. And then also going into, once you have an understanding of your mindset, then we awaken the leader within you. So we get to know a bit more about you and kind of who you are at the core, not just your personality, but what are your strengths? How do you make decisions? How do you want to position yourself in the business as it grows in order for you to feel more fulfilled by the work? So that's really what module 1 is. It's really packed in. There's a lot of self-discovery that kind of happens with that. And a lot of people in the business realm kind of skip this whole mindset thing, and that's just bullshit. Sorry. Because a lot of times they'll focus on like tactics and like in order for you to grow your business, you have to do SEO this way or whatever. That's just a tactic that's subject to change. Everything in this program is actually evergreen, meaning it's based around fundamentals and kind of the core concepts, back to the basics of actually how you grow a business, how it worked, 20 years ago, and how it's going to work, 20 years from now. And so a lot of people will go through this program multiple times because when they look at it, they're looking at it from a different lens. They become different. It becomes something that is evergreen and being able to serve them. Once you have an understanding of mindset and leadership, then you can move into time management. Now, time management is really the relationship to business. And so once you understand kind of who you are and what you should be doing within the business, then we're able to get some raw data. And our goal with module 2 is the first kind of milestone in Leverage for Growth as a whole program, which is carving out those 8 to 10 hours per week for you to work on the business. Now, when you're able to look at your business from a different lens, not just a lens of, hey, I got to get this work done, but a lens of, where is my business going and how am I able to kind of direct it towards the vision that I wanted, alignment. That comes from time and space away from the business. And this is really where you're able to work on the business. And from this place, you can create your agency by design rather than by default. And that is actually really, really a core concept also of our programs, where they're really focused around an understanding that you can have a life and a business by design, not by default. So by design means that things are happening for you, and by default is like the external locus of control, if you're into psychology, external locus of control where everything's happening to you. And we're really focused around that internal locus of control where things are happening for you, and being able to really create a life business by design. Now, once you have that relationship, relationship to the business through the use of time, then you can start looking at what you're currently doing within client fulfillment. And so if you guys just joined us at the top of the page, you can go to nichecontrol.com/accelerator. You can see our Black Friday /launch sale that's going on right now during this live launch. And so I'm just going through the programs, and there's also case studies all over the place. So if you just joined, you can check that out. Now, after we've understood your mindset, your leadership, and time management, now we can start looking at client fulfillment. So how do you actually fulfill on the services you have currently? Now, the key is that while you're going through this process, it's actually just to remove you as a bottleneck to growth, meaning anything that you're building from a system for client fulfillment, it should support you in effective delegation. And so what our main goal is with module 3 is really based around getting everything that's in your head out into documents and processes so that you can effectively delegate. And when you're able to do that, you're able to protect that 8 to 10 hours per week for you to work on the business, right? And when you're able to effectively delegate, you start to understand what's happening is that there's a transition, an internal transition that's happening where you can effectively delegate work to others. They're able to do it right the first time, and you're able to look at it from a different lens. And when you're able to do that, then you can move into any type of repackage. So if you remember from Warren, he talked about a repackaging. Susan, she did a repackage. Mike did a repackage. If you go farther down, you'll see that we have multiple times where it's like 2 times the profit, 2 times the revenue, 2 times the monthly recurring. That's all based around this one module right here. So module 4 is ultimately a MVS, so minimum viable solution. It's this idea that with your ideal client, if you understand who your ideal client is, you'll understand that they're going through something in their current state, some problem, some pain, and in their future state, they don't want to have that pain anymore, and they want something, and that gap between where they are and where they want to go is painful, and ultimately it gets fulfilled by a product, a service, or a transformation. And the understanding between these two kind of polar opposites, current and desired future, that gap needs to be fulfilled in some form. And if you can think about a way of closing that gap through your product or service, in a way that is not only scalable, so you can do it over and over and over and over and over, predictable, you can get the same results over and over and over again, as well as a minimum viable. So meaning that you're actually incentivized to get them to that result in the shortest amount of time possible. And what we do is we create this minimum viable solution for you. And it's reimagining how you price, you package, and deliver your services through that minimum viable solution for your ideal client. And what this does is it actually sets you up for growth planning and increasing your profitability, which is step number 3. And once we have that increased profitability, then we move into client attraction systems. So I'm not the type of person, again, if you've been following me this entire time, I'm not the type of person that actually is going to teach you how to do better marketing for inbound or SEO or paid ads or anything like that. What I am better at is actually just the understanding and the integration of all 3 client attraction systems. So what that means is you have outbound, inbound, and referral, and how all 3 of those can work together to create what's called message resonance, and then building systems around that message resonance in order for you to fill up your pipeline with ideal clients. Now, one of the things that you're going to need is to understand who your ideal client is. So that's really what Module 5 starts off with. And then from there, we get data around that ideal client, which is different from a buyer persona. We figure out different ways of making it to where you can have as many conversations with your ideal client as possible. And then we basically just figure out some manual and automated methods of starting conversations. From there, we can fill your appointment with booked appointments, or fill your calendar with booked appointments. Now, a lot of times what my clients will do, because they're already an expert in something like SEO or paid ads or whatever the thing is a lot of times that freed up time, they're just refining their own systems and using the systems they usually work with clients on, using it for themselves as well, and really just becoming an expert in their craft, which is ultimately what we're trying to accomplish anyway, because you want to be able to lead by example. Now, once you fill up your calendar with booked appointments, then what the next step is really just to close them. So getting more clients in there. So module 6 is really based around client conversion. So getting an appointment from an appointment generation all the way to a paying client. And this is really where we optimize your sales process and looking at different ways of making it to where on the other side, so your prospect or the person that's walking through and becoming a paying client, basically is able to get a seamless, smooth transition where it just feels kind of natural and the offer is good and all that. So it's optimizing your sales process from qualification to the sales even like sales frameworks and what you're doing on the sales calls, how to make it to where every sales call that you have, you're actually improving your sales metrics, knowing your metrics, and then looking at different patterns and how that relates back towards qualifying the appointments that kind of come in, and different messaging. So sales and marketing kind of become one. Now, from that, we also go into lead generation systems. So some of our clients like to do it themselves, and other clients like to have a lead generation provider. We basically give you a whole bunch of different kind of best practices of what we've found, trying out a whole bunch of different programs, a lot of different softwares, also what has worked for our clients before, and then also to find, if you are looking for a lead generation provider, how to find the right one, how to go through a systematic process of making sure that they're not screwing up your brand. But the most important part of this whole program is actually corporate level people systems. And what that means is that you'll get to a certain point where you're able to generate new clients using the marketing you're probably really good at already. You're able to free up the time. You're able to have this increased profitability. You're able to fill up your pipeline. And then next, and the final kind of stage in Leverage for Growth is empowering your people to run whole parts of the company with, so you can focus on growth or taking a time for yourself. And that comes from people systems. And the business growth game that you play from a 7-figure to an 8-figure is a talent management game, where the 6-figure to 7-figure is this internal battle of this transformation that's happening within you. And both of those, so going from 6 to 8 figures, is based around people systems. And so people systems is really based around attracting, hiring, developing, managing high performers and growing rapidly. So if you can hire somebody and retain somebody that can do the work of 5 other people, that's kind of a big deal. Even if you're paying them a lot for a certain salary, it can cover everything. Now, our people systems are awesome because we've had it to where someone who has one of our clients, we built a hiring funnel for them, with them, and we were able to make it to where their bottleneck was actually the hiring of right people. And we gave them, in 1 week of launching this hiring funnel, they had over 300 applicants, and then we screened them down in less than a week down to 5, and then we had interviews, and then we found the best one, and it was awesome. And that's basically what we do, is we make it to where, kind of like client attraction, you're actually able to do that with either employee or contractor attraction, where you're pulling people into working with you. And then you're the selector, as opposed to randomly just finding somebody on Upwork or whatever. And we have it also where it's based around attraction and hiring for contractors and hiring for employees, and how to develop them. So we have in corporate America, I used to be a training and development manager. So my main focus is actually the transfer of knowledge and being able to have it to where they can demonstrate ability of being able to do that work. So that's one of the biggest things with people systems. So that's kind of an overview and kind of an explanation of what is on our website. Again, if you just joined us, we have a launch week. This is the launch of our Leverage for Growth Accelerator program. You can use the coupon code Black Friday 2022. And what you can do is you can go in here. Most of our programs are in like the 30,000 to 60,000. So this is the lowest cost you probably ever see us do a program for, because ultimately we've realized that a lot of people in either the agency world are struggling, but in the world in general, people are nervous about recession and things like that. And that's part of the reason why we're doing this, is because we want to be able to help you or anybody else that you know that's an agency owner, that ultimately wants to work less, achieve more, increase profits, free up time, and really build the systems that support you and your vision. That's the reason on why we're doing this, and we're going to be doing this. This program we're going to be rolling out throughout this entire week. Now, you can read through it. You can listen to each one of these, are actual videos. They're about 20 minutes long for each one of them. We go really in depth with client interviews. And the question that I'd ask you is, if all this did was just one of these outcomes, ask yourself if it would be worth it. If you could work in your business when you wanted to, would it be worth it? If you could reduce the complexity of client fulfillment, so taking on new clients was much easier, would it be worth it? If you could finally stop spinning your wheels and have a long-term business growth strategy, would it be worth it? If you allowed your team to take over whole parts of the company so you could scale without burning out, would it be worth it? And if you could spend more time with your family without worrying about client satisfaction, would it be worth it? And some of the things that we've realized is that for this, $2,000 is nothing. Some of my clients, they say that they've saved 2 years worth of, yeah, Mike, putting this into practice saved me 2 years of having to learn it on my own. So what is 2 years worth to you? Is it worth $2,000? Right now it's only $14.97. So really cool. You can check out nichecontrol.com/accelerator. If you guys have any questions about this and you just want to jump on a call with me, you can find this book discovery call. I'll hold the savings for you, but you can find time for us right here. That would be under nichecontrol.com/discovery. Otherwise, I would love to really help you gain a lot of certainty and confidence in 2023, regardless of what's going on in the market. So that's really all I got for you guys. I hope you guys check out our website, nichecontrol.com/accelerator. And thank you very much for joining. And I look forward to helping you